Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to explain the future of this channel and why I haven't been making videos lately. And well, the short answer is the reason I stopped making Fire Emblem videos is because I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say on the topic. And that leads into like the purpose of this channel. This channel, I want to make videos that are evergreen from gameplay perspective. So what do I mean by that? So I don't want this channel to be like a news channel or a flavor of the week channel or anything like that. I just want this channel to focus on the action RPG and the strategy RPG area. So, games like you can see here, like Monster Hunter, maybe Dark Souls. I don't want to cover Dark Souls on this channel or any of the From Software games. I feel like there's nothing to talk about in those games, to be honest. But see, like I want to talk about games that I feel have very deep and intricate gameplay. Games that will stand the test of time, and we look back on games that have very strong gameplay mechanics, very interesting gameplay mechanics. So that's, just with like From Software games, I don't really want to talk about those. I think those are pretty much you just play it once, pretty good. But as far as like the discussion around the gameplay, I don't think there's much to be had there. So that's why I want to avoid those games a little bit. So that leads to why I have this red box here. These are the games I want to talk about, and you can see here it's Monster Hunter. We have Dragon's Dogma, which doesn't exist yet. Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 1, you can go play it for like $16 on Steam. I still think it's one of the greatest games of all time, and that's been like going on like 15 years ago. It's pretty insane. That game is Dragon's Dogma 1 is still the king of all action RPGs. It's like I said, it's insane how it's so old and it's still the best. Like I still think it's better than Monster Hunter. Like if I had to pick like the best modern action RPG, it's definitely Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is definitely the best. Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is definitely the best action RPG. And you notice my very first videos were talking about Monster Hunter, and that's the reason for that was because I feel like the community wasn't talking about the deep gameplay mechanics. It's insane what those developers were able to come up with in terms of their combat system, the RPG aspects to it, combined with the action aspects to it. And to be a really good player in Monster Hunter, you have to master both the RPG elements as well as the action elements. So I think Monster Hunter is probably like Dragon's Dogma out of the question right now. I think Monster Hunter is probably the best action RPG. Not Sekiro, not Dark Souls, not Elden Ring, none of those, fortunately. And yeah, so this is the spectrum I want to cover is like the action RPGs here, right in the center. And then we have Fire Emblem Engage, which is more of like a turn-based strategy RPG. And I think Fire Emblem Engage is actually the best Fire Emblem game out of all of them. And I played a lot of them. I didn't play all of them. I played a lot of them though. And the reason it's the best is because the gameplay is extremely sound. It's extremely crisp and extremely tight and fine-tuned and polished to a T. I do have criticisms about Fire Emblem Engage. Maybe I'll make a video about some of the things I wish the game could improve on. Most of them I think are quality of life increases, but I was just so impressed at how tight the gameplay was, with the progression and just going through the whole game. The story is extremely crappy, if I'm being honest, but I think I may have said this in a previous video, but I am not impressed by any video game story. Like all of these here, I'm not impressed by their story. Dragon's Dogma is actually kind of an exception. I'm actually kind of impressed by Dragon's Dogma story, and probably Fire Emblem 4. I'm actually pretty impressed by it. But as far as like memorable stories that I can just highly recommend, I cannot recommend any video game stories, and maybe that's just because I'm extremely hard to impress with stories. I just don't suspend my disbelief like other people do. You really have to deliver on the logic and the lore of the world that you are delivering in the game for me to even consider your story worth being told. So and the good thing is, because I have such a jaded and elitist view on stories in video games. I'm never disappointed because I expect them all to be crap. So whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But that's why I like to focus on gameplay, right? So yeah, the thing is, like, Dragon's Dogma 2 probably won't come out for like another 2 years, and Monster Hunter 6 probably won't come out for another at least a year. So I pretty much have nothing to play or nothing to talk about. So, Fire Emblem, if they could create another Fire Emblem Switch game, I'll probably cover it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to play other Fire Emblem games. I actually haven't even beaten Thracia. I always get to like 2/3 through the game, like the chapter where you have to save Dagdar and bow girl, I forget her name, but I always end up like just stop playing for some reason. Not because it's like too difficult or anything. I just get tired of it for some reason. But if you want me to just play Thracia, I can play Thracia. I think it's actually probably before Engage came out. I think Thracia is probably the best gameplay game out of all the Fire Emblem games. And then I just want to talk about these games on the side. These are honorable mentions, I would say. And like towards the left side, you have your more action games. Neo 2 is probably right here. It's like it's still an action RPG, but it's very action heavy, and there are RPG elements like as to building your character, but it's mainly action. I don't really want to cover that, and the reason I don't really want to cover Devil May Cry and Neo 2, which I think are the best games in their genre, it's leaning towards that action side, is because just the gameplay is so tight. But unfortunately, I'm just not good enough. I feel like I'm not good enough to cover those games. Or at least with Monster Hunter and Fire Emblem, like I'm pretty confident in my gameplay abilities for these games. And Dragon's Dogma, again, like I said, Dragon's Dogma is just the king of all games. Like Dragon's Dogma, I would stretch this really far, like this, because it's such, it covers so many genres. It's an action game, it's an RPG game, it has so many genres in it, and it blends them all together. It's just insane how well it's able to do that and still be a really fun game. So that's why I think Dragon Dawn is actually the best game. And then over here I have Endwalker for Final Fantasy XIV, and it's an MMORPG. I'm just kind of playing it just because I'm heavily invested in it. So I'm just when patches come out, I'll just play it. I don't really want to create content for it. I mean, there's not really much content to create for Final Fantasy XIV. It's you just look up what the meta is, you just copy the meta and you just do it. And then after that point, for raids and stuff, it's just execution and just playing good. So there's nothing I really want to talk about that. So yeah, it's still a fun game. I don't really recommend it. I only recommend it if you have a lot of time on your hands, and even then, I don't recommend it. I'd probably just try it out, see if you like it, and then just keep playing it if you like it. The base game and the first expansion are free, so there's the only thing you have to spend is your time to play those. But it is very long. Again, people praise the story in Final Fantasy XIV. I actually don't think the story is that good. It has its moments, but overall, like if I were to grade the story completely, it's okay. It's not that bad. But yeah, so don't get fooled by people who say Final Fantasy XIV story is really good. It's serviceable. And again, maybe that's just because, like I said, I'm so jaded when it comes to video game stories that I'm not easily impressed. So maybe I'm not the right person to ask for story-wise. Yeah, but I won't really create content around this. Like I said, going back to the main point, I want to create content and evergreen content on gameplay aspects. So that's why I have Monster Hunter and Fire Emblem here. I definitely want to create more Monster Hunter gameplay videos in the future because it's still so deep. Like I feel like I created so many videos on Monster Hunter that I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of the gameplay. It's so insane. Like the number of monsters, the combination of the weapons. Like all the videos I created for Monster Hunter were just on one weapon, the Great Sword. And there's like at least 10 weapons now in Monster Hunter, and each have their own unique gameplay. It's pretty insane. So like I honestly, I'd probably get pretty old by the time I'd cover every single weapon in extreme detail. But anyways, this is just kind of like a heads up as to where I want to take this channel. I mean, if you guys have ideas for videos, I can create them. I'm not going to compromise like what I want to make. I'm only going to make what I want to make, and that's honestly that's not a good way to run a YouTube channel. If you're trying to get views and stuff and subscribers, it's like at this point in my life, I'm like I just want to make evergreen stuff that will stand the test of time, and whether people like it or not, I don't really care to be honest. But maybe that's just a unique aspect to my channel. I hope. Anyways, I hope you are doing well. I'm just chilling right now. I do read all your comments, so but if you do leave like really long comments, it's like at that point, it's like I want to respond to everything to give you like a fair shot because I feel like it's disingenuous to just respond to one part of your comment. But like when you leave like such long comments, it's like at that point I don't want to respond because it's like I don't want to type out such a long answer and spend all the time, uh, writing a long answer. So if you want a response from me in your comments, like keep it concise and short and very efficient in terms of like the content that you're trying to the ideas that you're trying to portray in that comment. That's usually how I'll respond to the comment. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I don't know. I mean, action RPGs is looking pretty good. I've been feeling pretty busy lately. So, but yeah, just on my radar, just the ones I definitely want to get are Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma. Those are like I said, I think they're probably the greatest games of all time. And you feel free to disagree about that, but anyways, that's just my opinion. But anyways, hope you guys are doing good, and thanks for sticking around this long, and thanks for watching.